Hi, Nathan. So it looks like when I'm just looking at this, it looks like you have a pretty good understanding of what's going on here. Um, when I say pretty good, I mean you understand the basics, and let me show you what I mean by that. So you should feel good about understanding how to find sales tax, commission, and to find out how to give a certain tip amount. Okay, you're doing pretty good with those three things. They just are kind of repetitive. Um, One thing I would suggest is that as I look at this paper here, it looks like they gave you the answers on the left side, which is great. I want you to consider about units. Um, and this is important because sometimes we get carried away with just giving an answer and we forget to include the correct units. I don't know about your teacher, but I give partial credit. So this helps my students who may not own the whole process, but they know certain steps they can do. So, for example, for number six or for number four, let's do number four. Number four, it says the regular price of a Stellar 9 video game is $44.50, but it is on sale at a 30% discount. So your A and your B, let me write 44.50 and 30%. Let me write that here. 44.50 and then we've got 30%. And you understand, I hope, that when we are multiplying by a percent, we actually convert it to the decimal. And when we convert it to the decimal, that alleviates us having to convert later. So if I multiply 44.5 times zero point 0.3, that gives me the 1335. So that gives me 1335. Let me go back to the question. It says the regular price of a Stellar 9 video game is $44.50, but it is on sale at 30% at a 30% discount. How much is the discount? That is where you put $13.35 for A. A is not zero point 0.3. Zero point 0.3 is the discounted percentage, but 13.35 is the actual amount of the discount. It is how much I can save. All right. And then it says, what is the sell price? So then I want to take that 44.50 and subtract 13.35 and see what it gives me. It looks like it gives me a value of $31.15. Now, if I look over here on the side where my answers are, I see that answer right here. So your A for number four should be the discount price. This is the amount of the discount you're going to have. 30% of $44.50 is $13.35. And then what is the sale price? Well, once I subtract that $13.35 from the original price, then I'll get $31.15. Okay. It's very important that you go back. You need to redo this number four and make sure you put your dollar signs. Always include your units because most math teachers will give partial credit, and that means we take it as well if you don't put everything that you need. Okay. Um, Let me see. Let's look at I'm trying to find number five is the same thing. I see you did the moving of the decimal that most people are taught, and you should have 0.065 times 1580. And that'll leave you with $102.70. Again, make sure you have it looking like money because that is the amount of tax on that item. So that would be part A. And then for part B, it'll say what was the total. Well, now I'm going to add the tax onto the original amount. So I'm going to add 1580 plus 102.70. That's going to give me 1682.70. Let's look back on the side and see, do we see that? Yes, we do. Right here under 128, 1682.70. So now let's go back over. This is what we call a multi-step problem. Part A is your $102.70, include your dollar sign. And then part B is when I go to buy anything, except for in a state that doesn't have sales tax, I'm going to have to pay the original amount plus the monetary amount of the sales tax. And in this case, the sales tax is 6.5%. So I'm going to multiply by 0.065, add that 102.7 to 1580, and then I have my two answers there. Okay, but both of these require a dollar sign. I want to look down at number 6 as well. Number 6 says, for each player in the table, find what percent of his shots were baskets and what is the highest of the three. So what I advise you to do is what I have my kids do. I have them underline key things so that they'll know this is a 2-part question. This is not a 1-part question. All right. So it wants to know the percent. Finding the percent of anything is very, very simple. Here it is. We have 29. Huey shot 29 shots, but he only made 12. So let's go ahead and see what that could look like here. All right, so I'm not really sure where I left off. I think I moved on down to number 9. I hate when I pause videos. I know I was talking about number 6, and I was talking about how number 6 is asking you to find the number of baskets made per shot. Okay. And so, just in case I missed it, let me go ahead and set this up for you. It says Huey took 29 shots, but he made 12 baskets. What's the percent? Let's use you for an example. We're going to say that Nathan took 36 shots and made 27. So I'm going to put my made over the shots taken. So that'll be 27 over 36. And all I'm going to do, we know this setup right here. This fraction bar means to divide. All right. So I'm going to divide 27 by 36. Let's do it. 27 divided by 36. That gives me 0.75. Whenever I have 0.75, now I am going from a decimal to a percent, 1, 2, so it is 75%. And that makes sense because 18 over 36 would be 50%. Oops, 50%. And 36 over 36 would be 100%. So that's right smack down in the middle, right? 27. So if I had a number line and I counted up from 18 to 27, and then from 27 on to 36, this is the midway point. And we know this 25, 50, 75, 100. So 75 is smack dab in the middle of 50 and 75. So that looks like a good answer. All right. So you're going to take the made shots and put it over the shots taken. You're going to divide it and convert that answer to a percent. That's how you do that one. I don't know if my video was recording like I wanted it to when I went over that problem with you, but that's how you do it. So we'll do Huey's 12 over 29. So he had 12 makes out of 29 shots. And so I'm going to do the same thing, right? I'm going to try to reason through this. If 29 is relatively close to 30, 50% of 29 would have to be 15 because that's half. So this should be less than 50%. Okay, let's do it. 12 divided by 29. 12 divided by 29 is 0.41.3. So let's go back here. 0.41, what was it? 0.413. And so when I make this a percent, it's going to go boop, boop, like that. And I'll have 41% or 41.3%. Let's see what our options are. Do we have 41% over here? Or do they just give us, they may not give us all these individual percents. They may just give us 12 divided by 29. I don't know if they give us each answer. Let's see. 12 divided by 29 equals 41 point. Oh, maybe they round up the 3 to 4. Let's see. Do we have that as an option? 41.4 or 41.3? No. All right, let's do the next one. We got 20 to 48. Let's see that one because maybe they don't give us all the answers to that. 20 to 48. That gives us 0.416. So that's about 42% or 41.7. Okay, I don't see that one either. Let's take a look at 16 to 35%. 16 to 35. 16 to 35 is 45.714. 45.7. All right, so it looks like they are only asking you for the last one because if you read the rest of the problem, you're going to fill in the percentages. And the way we're doing it is correct, sir. So don't let the fact that you didn't see these other answers over here sway you. 12 divided by 29. And you should show your work. Okay. And show your work meaning let them know that I know I'm dividing the baskets made by the shots made, attempted, and that's going to give me my percent. So 12 over 29, and then 20 over 48, and then we got 16 over 35. The last part, the question that you have to answer, the one that's over here, is what is the highest of the 3 shooting percentages? The rest of the answers are not there. So it looks like you were trying to figure that out, but they did not ask you for all the rest of them. That is why you only have one answer, 45.7%. Okay, so don't get caught up in what is over here as much as understanding how to solve it. For number 6, it is baskets over shots, period. That is your percentage when you're done. Okay, and it looks like they're only rounding it to the 10th. All right. Well, let me look at number 7. All right, so I am taking a look at number 7. I'm questioning your work, but I'm not questioning the answer. Okay. So it says the area of the heart is 20 centimeters squared. So that is this colored in spot. The area of the heart is 20 centimeters squared. And then it says if this 20 centimeters squared is 72%, what is the total area of the square? So another way I could write this is called a proportion, and I'm sure y'all went over these, but is 20 of 7 and is 72% over 100, then what is the whole? So I don't think you did this way, but this right here and this right here, they are both very solid ways to set it up. Your teacher may prefer this way because it matches the is of proportion, and you may remember that when we're talking about is and of, this is the part to the whole, and on the other side is the percent over 100. Okay, so in essence what we're saying is they told you 72%, so they gave you the percent, is 20 centimeters squared. And we know we have 100. The value we're looking for is this. Or you can think about it this way. If 20 is 72%, what the number is 100%. So you're setting it up and it looks like it's flipped, but either of these ways will work. It's kind of like if I said if 40 is no. That's not going to work. Let's stick with this. So we have 20 is 72% of something. Like I know that 40 is 50% of 80, but I want to know what is 100% of 80, right? So I'm talking about the value of 80. This is my example. The value of 80, I know that 40 is half of 80, but what's 100% of 80? What if I didn't know that? Then I could set it up like this, and I would do what some of us call um, diagonal multiplication and divide by the one that doesn't have a diagonal. So that would be 4,000 divided by 50, which would give me 40. I'm sorry, which would give me 80, right? Because 40, because 4 times this will give me 80 up here. 80% of 80 is going to be 100 if 40% of 80 is 50. So in this case, 20%, that heart that is 20% is only 72% of the square. So what is 100% of the square? Well, I multiply the 20 times 100 and then I divide it by the 72. Or I could use the is of part to whole percent to 100 proportion to solve it. At any rate, your answer is correct. Your rationale, though, I'm questioning. It looks like you have a 40 there, and I don't know where that 40 came from. Okay, so you might want to relook at that and understand that number 7 uses a proportion. Okay, let's see. Number 8, the value of a certain rare stamp is 160% of its value 3 years ago. If the stamp was worth 220 then, what is its worth today? So 160% of 220 is what we need to find out. And so I could find 120% of 220 by doing 1.60 times 220, and that gives me 352. And that answer is there. Okay. And you did that, so you got that right. Number 9 is the one you didn't do yet, but number 9 is going to be pretty similar to number 6. You need to put um, it's asking you, with all other variables held constant, the stopping distance for a car depends on the speed of the car. Based on the graph, find the following. The 30 miles per hour stopping distance is what percent of the 60 mile per hour stopping distance? That's the same thing as saying, what is the percentage of 12 baskets to the 29 shots made? So for example, I'm going to find my 30 mile per hour stopping distance. That's right here. And what is the value of that? It's 110. And then that is what percent of the 60, which is 312, right? So this is the is and the of. I could do this as a proportion, or I could simply divide the 30, the 110 by 312. I could do that, or I could set up an is of situation or part. So if we set up this last problem like a proportion, it said the 30-mile distance is, so that number goes there, what percent, that's what we're trying to find out, of the 60-mile distance, which goes here. Or you can do what we talked about, divide 110 by 312. Let's do both. That gives us 0.3525. Or we could do this way, 110 times 100, which gives us 11000, and divide that by 312. And it gives us that same number, 35.256, broken down. Let's see if that's one of our options. 35 point, they got 35.3 because the 25 would make it 0.3. Yep. So that's the answer. 35.3. They rounded it to the nearest tenth. That is the answer to part A. You can do part B on your own. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to find what is the distance for 40 and put it over the distance of 20. So that'd be 168 over 64. Then divide 168 by 64, rounded to the nearest tenth, and it is an answer in percent. That's how you figure that out, okay? I'm going to stop this video on this page. And I didn't really look at numbers 1, 2, and 3, but commission, if you're finding the commission or finding a sales price, let me show you real quick, or finding the percentage of something, you seem to know how to do that. And I'm just going to show you again. If I wanted to know if I sold a car for $4,658 and I got a commission of 38%, how much commission do I get? It's the same as sales tax. It's the same as tip, right? I just make this a decimal, 0.38, and I multiply it by 4,658, and that becomes my commission. Now, if I need to, like you do in this number 3, replace values or plug them in, I think you did number 3 right. I think you got the right answer. Then I just plug in the values. Like I know that commission equals this times that. Plug in the percent because they gave it to you. Plug in the value for commission. Divide both sides about a percent, and you'll get the original value by itself. Okay. I think you have that down though, so I'm not worried about it. But go ahead and work through the rest of these problems, and I'll make a different video for the other page.